And we're live.
Thank you, Amy. Welcome everybody to the City of Auburn's workshop on the economy. Thank you all for joining here today. Amy, if you would mind, or I'll call to order, sorry. If everybody would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be great. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance
Pledge
to the
allegiance to the
flag
flag
of the United States of America and
to
to the republic for which
for
it
which
stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Amy, would you mind calling roll, please?
Sure. For the record, I do not have Council Member Dowden Calvillo in attendance.
She had indicated that she wasn't going to be able to join us today.
Okay, perfect. Council Member Berlant.
Here.
Amara.
Present.
Riddell Harris. Here. And Mayor Spokely.
Here. Thank you very much. We'll jump right into public comment. This is a time that persons may speak to the council on any items on this agenda? Not on this agenda. Does anybody have any public comment? Amy, is there any public comment from the general public? No. All right, we'll jump right into the Auburn Economic Recovery Workshop agenda. First is health and emergency response update. I'll start with a little recap of our mayor's meeting that happens every Friday at 12:30 and kind of run through Dr. Oldham's updates that he provided to us. I guess I'll start with the positive, and that's that Placer County has received 4,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine, and they are working on the distribution of those doses now. They are actively looking for, and if anybody listening has a RN background, retired or otherwise, they're actively looking for medical people to administer those doses. That is going to be an issue as we kind of move forward and the vaccine becomes more readily available in our community. So they've actually got an active search for either retired RNs, active RNs that have available time, even if it's just, you know, an 8-hour block here or there, that people are willing to step up and kind of contribute to the cause. But any medical staff that is registered who would be willing to do that, the county is actively looking for you. They have on the county's webpage through the Health and Human Services, they have a drive right now to kind of build up the workforce for vaccine administration. So anybody who might be listening to this who has that background and has an interest in helping the greater cause, please check with Placer County Health and Human Services for those opportunities. They're paid positions. We're realizing, and the county's realizing as we move forward, that the amount of staff we're going to need to effectively and successfully administer vaccines to our population is going to be significant. So they've started this search. As I mentioned, we have received in the county 4,000 doses. Some of you may have seen that Pfizer has overfilled some of the vials. So some of those doses end up having an extra dose in the vial. We're not talking about mixing vials and sucking every drop out of the vials, but if there's an extra dose in the vials, Dr. Oldham said that sometimes there's an extra dose, even sometimes 2 extra doses in the vials over what they've said or indicated that the vial will supply as far as, you know, viable doses. So that's a good thing. So I don't know exactly what the number is above the 4,000, but it looks like we're getting more than the 4,000 that was the official count of the doses for the vaccine, which is obviously a very good thing. Let's see, next we jump to Dr. Odom mentioned that the Sleep Train Arena is open now to receive surge flows for medical needs. Again, these are not ICU related, but these are folks that otherwise need medical attention and beds that are no longer available at our local hospitals.
Hey, Matt,
Yes.
is the sleep train handling COVID and non-COVID, or either or both? Do you know? Because I know in the beginning it was just non-COVID.
I'm going to tell you what I understand, and I'll ask anybody on the call to correct me if I'm incorrect. But I believe that they are handling COVID and non-COVID, but they're certainly not the acute care patients that need ICU attention. That's my understanding. And the big problem again is not so much that the facility wasn't ready to reopen and wasn't there and couldn't be open sooner. The big problem that we're having in the nation, Rob, is the healthcare professionals. They're just there's not enough of them. I mean,
Right.
in this pandemic, there's just not enough of them to cover all the bases.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
A question I asked Dr. Odom, which I've been asked by or had lots of conversations with folks in our community, which I think is important to bring up. We have a little over 100 ICU beds in Placer County through Kaiser and Sutter facilities, and of those ICU beds, Dr. Odom mentioned to me that only 25 of the beds were attributed to COVID, meaning all of our other citizens and their severe medical needs are taking up the other 75% of the ICU beds. So I guess for me, this is my comment, that the ICU bed metric is a tough one, because we have a higher age community in Placer County, particularly in our Auburn area, greater Auburn area, and they have needs in desperate times for these ICU beds, and those are the folks that are predominantly occupying their ICU beds, by the order of about 3 to 1, so or 4 to 1. So I thought that was interesting. Next, we kind of jumped into the Placer shares, and I'll give just a very high level overview of kind of where we stand with that program, because we've talked about it quite a bit in this group. And then I'll turn it over to John to kind of get into some of the details, because we do have a very good plan, I think, moving forward. But on the call, it was announced that Placer Shares program has about $1.3 million that they're allocating to this next tranche of funding for our communities. A little bit less than what we thought was originally available. I think we originally thought we had about $2 million. They announced today that it's actually 1.3 million. It's going to be focused on collaborative efforts that John will get into in a moment. The guidelines for these grant funds are going to be supposedly distributed out today to the business associations and chambers to work on their requests for funding. And the application process opens Wednesday of next week, which is just fantastic timing, but that's when they're opening up, right, as we're heading into the Christmas holiday break. With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to John to talk about some of the specifics about how we at the city of Auburn are going to kind of work with our business districts and our chamber to position Auburn in the best place we can position ourselves. John?
Yeah, Mayor and Council. So 1.3 million collaborative efforts for Auburn in our area. That represents that probably the amount that we could get is about $185,000 that could come to us. The collaboration needs to be amongst business associations, chambers, those types of groups. The exclusion is the city. The city cannot be a collaborator in the project, but I will share with you that we will work together on everything. I've talked with Jackie and April about this, and I've told them that I'll, if need be, I'll write the grant for them to help with it. We had a meeting the other day about it. So it requires a budget, and the uses of the money can be pretty broad. You can buy basically FF&E, the equipment, tables, equipment, those types of things. You can provide supplies for folks, technical assistance, rent relief, and working capital for businesses for direct allocation. And it also allows capital projects. So from that, if you look at the money that the city has allocated, 25 grand combined with the 185, you're looking at a nice little budget that we can put together. So Jackie and April and I kind of combined that we would look at really 5 different areas. First are the idea of doing some level of capital projects. That's the idea of putting together some type of a program for both downtown and Old Town to facilitate outdoor dining. That might include a combination of some type of covers that are a little bit nicer than just the easy ups that have gone out there, tables, a way of barricading the streets. But that's kind of my project, is to come up with some type of a proposal that we would spend on some type of a capital project that would enable more pedestrian orientation, outdoor dining, and support to that. And if you can imagine, covers, tables, the accoutrement that would go along with all that, heaters, and a way of barricading the street. We've also looked at technical assistance, which probably has the greatest opportunity. So the area that we're looking at that would be our, quote unquote, our region includes North Auburn, Bowman, and let's just describe it as the greater Auburn area, of which the chamber covers into that. So looking at the technical assistance, that's the idea of transitioning not only to social media, but also some direct online commerce. And so Jackie and the chamber are going to work up some type of a proposal to go out, and it's the idea that we could actually have somebody go out and put these things together literally for probably hundreds of businesses if we really got the thing going. So technical assistance. We've talked about the idea of direct assistance. A lot of the businesses, the restaurants have had to shift. One of the recommendations we had at our workshop was the idea of maybe helping in bulk purchasing of to-go containers and those types of things. So we're looking at that. The one thing that we really didn't hit on was rent assistance, and I think that's based both on the fact 185 is a lot of money, but 185,000 spread amongst 150 or so businesses that we might get into, or actually even more than that, would probably dilute the overall effort. So one of the things that we did talk about, they've been doing it in Lincoln, is actually subsidizing some of the food delivery options. And down there, they use DoorDash. Here in Auburn, we have a local business called Food Jets that's actually Auburn-based. And the idea that they charge exorbitant amounts into their cut. That driver that's pulling up, that service is getting somewhere between 25 and 30% of whatever you're paying. So Jackie's going to look into the idea if there can't be some type of a deal cut where we could actually help subsidize some of the restaurants and really promote food jets. And then the final thing that we talked about was the idea of heaters that would go into the mix, and just the outright purchase of those. And I think April looked into it, and like 35 heaters would cost us about $10,000. We have talked about the idea of trying to manage the money. On today's call, Sherry Conway indicated that they would try and get the money out as quickly as possible. So strategically, we're looking at the idea of maybe depending on when and where we can get the money, when the city money goes in, the city money go in up front, would we hold on to it? The city money is not going away, but we talked about the timing of when that would happen. So bottom line, we're going to start working on the proposal that will go to on Monday. They are having a very key let's just call it Placer Shares 3. They're going to have the meeting on Monday. The application time starts on Wednesday, and then the deadline will be on January 11th, I believe. So we're going to have to hustle, but that's okay. Jackie and April were awesome on the meeting yesterday. I think the three of us will obviously round in folks from Highway 49. Jackie is going to talk to the people in Bowman and and also Old Town. So we'll put together something, and ultimately the reality is that we'll get something in, go for the full 185, and so $210,000 program sounds pretty good. So I throw it out to April and to Jackie. If I missed anything, if you want to add something.
Hey, John, real quick before we jump to April or Jackie, the thing that came up on the call today at noon or 12:30 that was a little concerning was Sherry Conway's mention that they're going to fund in the third week of January, which obviously, in my opinion, is too late. She did, though, mention after we kind of questioned her on that funding could happen and would happen sooner if the applications were received and they were worthy of the funding. So I think that's kind of part of why John and all of us need to jump on this, because third week of January to get funds for getting ready for the reopening of some of our establishments is just too late, in my opinion. So we need to jump on this, I guess, is the only point I wanted to make.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was a big part of our conversation yesterday, was just cash flowing. How will we cash flow it? And, in some ways, I think I told Jackie, or at least I was thinking I was going to tell Jackie that, maybe we just write a check and give the money to the chamber. Ultimately, they would be the destination anyway. So, like I said, doesn't matter when the city money is spent. But if we have to, we just give the chamber the money and she can cash flow it all.
Hey, John, you had mentioned earlier in your today, did they already come up with the revised guidelines? I know we had the bullet, the one pager that they handed out, I think Wednesday. Have you already seen the updated version?
No, and so my impression is we'll probably get that on Monday. I think that probably on Monday, the meeting is going to be hashing the detail, the final details out. They'll firm it up, and then, as Sherry said, they'll launch it on Wednesday. So my guess is we'll get through some of the nitty gritty on Monday, and then it'll just be us to get whatever they have on Wednesday, fill it in, and submit.
My understanding, Rob, based on my notes and what Sherry indicated, was the guidelines were going to go out today. So let's see if they provide updated guidelines for the grant program.
Yeah, like a draft version, right, Matt, that they might tighten up on Monday. That was kind of my understanding.
I think the draft version is already out. That's what they should have shared at Wednesday's meeting. And it's, as Matt said, today was supposed to be the final.
The final.
The final.
So I don't think that's, honestly, Daniel, I actually spoke with Sherry Conway yesterday, and I believe that document Wednesday was going to be refined into a document that would then be further vetted, which is, I think, the timeline that John's talking about with that Monday meeting. Like, I don't think today's will be the final. I think that happens probably Monday, with the idea of opening it up on Wednesday.
And you could be right. It just says on the draft, final guidelines released Friday. So that's the only reason why.
Right. No, I know. Believe me, I've been in a couple conversations on it. I know it. I think part of the issue here is the issue that you brought up a week ago in terms of their changing of direction only happened on Tuesday. The going back to the new, and so I think staff was scrambling around a little bit to, make sure that they had that they represented the board's direction in the way that they, that the board wanted, and I think they were still trying to figure out exactly what that was. I think Wednesday was sort of their first best, shot at it.
It was a much better shot than what we had last week. So
for sure. Yep.
I use the word disingenuous for what they had last week.
Yeah, well, I actually watched the December 1 and the December 15 meetings to kind of see what it looked like from a directional standpoint. And it'll be interesting to see, because the direction on the first was not that every dollar would be a community collaborative, but that would be allowable use. And then on Wednesday, it was like, that's the only use. And I'm not sure that I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't know that as many communities are ready to go as Auburn and I think Tahoe are, as far as the collaboration goes. So I think there's no doubt though that element will be in there. So that's good for us. John and you guys are ready to go. So I think it bodes really well. And Cindy's comments were very strong on the issue. So,
well, the point I triggered it on for staff yesterday and for April and Jackie was the fact that the way the draft guidelines or the draft guidelines, Rob, depending on how you want to look at when they're going to get them, but the original document said communities can apply for up to $185,000. But the grant committee reserves the right to grant more or less based on the proposal. And so I think what you just said is if some of those other communities are not as poised to go and do not submit, there's actually an opportunity that if we get in early and ask for actually more, that we wouldn't have a problem potentially getting at least what we asked for, if not a little bit higher. And so I think being poised, ready to go to submit right away puts us at a potential advantage should one of those other communities be not as strategic as we have been.
Absolutely, 100%.
Well,
One thing, go ahead, Matt, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think we need to be thoughtful in how we put this together. We obviously want to do all we can for our businesses, but The businesses in other communities have needs as well. I'm not saying we don't diminish what we ask for. I'm saying let's put our minds together, figure out what our district's needs are, and put the best program together we can, and see where we end up. We've talked about 3 districts, but I want to make sure that we don't lose sight of the airport. And there is a district out there, and there are businesses out there that are going to be suffering from this shutdown, albeit mostly our breweries, microbreweries, but they are an important part of our business community.
Well, and on that note, in those Wednesday guidelines, Forest Hill was part of the Auburn region. John, has that been further clarified?
Yeah, I think you're right. I was thinking Forest Hill in the back of my mind, but I watched the Western States movie last night before, and I wasn't sure whether it was subliminal or not. So I think you're correct.
But I mean, again, that's one of the reasons Sherry talked to me yesterday, was she was looking for some content. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure that staff really is married to these regions as is, because some of them may, like it came up in the call Wednesday, whether Newcastle should actually be, part of Loomis. So I do think there's going to be some shifting around, and as far as that goes. But to Matt's point, I absolutely think there's going to be a need, to have that, that greater Auburn area, Bowman, be represented in there. I don't think that'll be, that's not going to go away, I don't think.
And I guess to the overall point here, if we try to open it up to some of our other nearby business areas, the idea of going in above the 185 cap certainly seems to make sense to me. If we can provide some support to Newcastle, for example, yes, let's shoot above the 185. We're just trying to save the businesses in our area. So whatever we can do to make that happen, I think would be seen favorably with the group that's going to be reviewing these grant requests.
Yeah. For Jackie and April, I don't know if they have anything to add. One of the things, by looking at these 5 different areas, I think if there was going to be a theme, is that we've got some strong foundational elements that would be attractive to not just downtown and Old Town. I really believe the technical assistance step, both the chamber and both of the associations have already done a really good job in setting things on social media and all that. The ability to build above what the base that they already have, and then taking this thing forward is just there. And I think the ability to advertise out on 49, if Newcastle is part of that, no doubt, include them, go out to the airport and do what we can to support. But I think Rob's right. I think we're a little bit ahead of where some of the other communities might be on collaboration. Anyway, bottom line, we need to put together the proposal, and my guess is that we'll work on it a little bit next week, and then going into the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Looks like Jackie's ready to say something. She's doing this. Nope. Sandy, Sandy, you have something?
Yeah. Just I sound like a broken record, but maybe it's covered. The outline areas like the South Auburn, the new little restaurant there, and some of the other outline areas, I think are important too, that we shouldn't forget about.
I'll say what Jackie doesn't want to say right now, which is the Chamber of Commerce is actually the Auburn Area Chamber of Commerce. And so even those areas outside the business districts are covered by the chamber. And I think Jackie can answer for herself, but Forest Hill, technically, they have members, even though they have their own Chamber of Commerce, the Forest Hill Divide Chamber of Commerce. All those areas are counted in the chamber area.
Great, great, great. Okay.
Rachel?
I know that I just saw something online that Dingus McGee's is having a difficult time. They just started a GoFundMe for them. So even those folks up the hill more towards the Meadow Vista area, it's hard because they don't really get included in a lot of the larger groups. So we'll have to see where that line, who in they're kind of one-offs and few and far betweens, but they're also probably in need of some help.
Dingus is also in our membership. We actually paid it forward and paid off their memberships for them so that they could worry more about their restaurant. But also Meadow Vista and Colfax and those have their own district. They're not included in ours.
Okay.
So they're one of the 7 districts. I believe it's Colfax, Meadow Vista, Dutch Flat, that kind of area.
Okay, great.
All right, so on our agenda, we're at, I believe, the PPE discussion. I'm not sure that there's a whole lot new to add. I'm guessing we still have PPE available for folks who need it a little bit. Thank you, Jackie. I don't know. Do we need to spend time talking about this? Man, at least for me in my business, it's been easier to get a hold of. So the crises that we had earlier on in the pandemic seem to be past us. But for those folks who are listening, the city still has some PPE that is available, and we're more than happy to pass it out through the chamber and through City Hall. So reach out to us if you need anything. I'll move on next to the Auburn Chamber of Commerce reports and turn it over to Jackie for any updates she wants to provide us.
Sorry, I'm late. I'm not sure what you covered already. I'm guessing you may have covered the Shop Auburn Live. No, fantastic. I would love to talk about it. We have been working hard, not only the chamber, but the city, Daniel, John, Amy, and our president, Allison, have been working hard on a daily basis to go into our stores and just promote the heck out of them. And we've had a substantial amount of views and followings from it. The Think Auburn First Facebook page, I think, has gained over 300 followers in the last week. And our videos are getting anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 views all around. So it's really great for our businesses that we're going in. We do 1 to 2 a day. If you haven't seen them, then you must. They are on Facebook. Sorry, April, they're not on Instagram. But they have gotten a really good feedback. Our businesses have given us really good feedback. They've had customers come in because of them. And they're super fun to do, especially when I get to joke around with Daniel and John. It's always a good time. So please check those out. Like Matt said, we do have PPE. We have it at the city. We also have it here at the chamber. Amy's been really great about meeting with people down in the Rose Room to pick stuff up if it's a larger order, if it's smaller. I have a small supply in my office as well. And we're just doing everything we can to promote, especially for the retail businesses, because this should be their busiest time of year. So we want to make sure that they get all the business we can. A business I just talked to today actually said this is her record year. So everybody that's coming in says that they're only supporting local this year because they know that our businesses need us more than ever. So that was amazing to hear. I just got goosebumps again because it was really great. It feels like all of our hard work is paying off and our businesses are gonna pull through for the most part. I think that we're gonna keep working hard with the business associations to put together some pricing for the shares and just make it through the end of the year at this point.
So Jackie, I just want to thank you and Daniel and John and whoever else, Amy and whoever else is involved with those Shop Auburn Live presentations. My daughter and I went out last night and we went to a few of the places that have been featured And we told them we were there because we saw the videos and they lit up. And yes, we bought stuff that we probably didn't need, but it doesn't matter. I think the message that we need to continue to send out, and we're doing a good job getting it out, is that, you know, stop with the Amazon, stop with the big box, shop in our towns. And it's a message that I think is resonating. So it's good to hear that you've heard from some of the merchants that they're having, you know, a decent year, a good year, a great year. That's fantastic to hear. So thank you all for all your hard work on that. That's been fantastic.
And I will say that I don't think we've left a store where one of us didn't buy something. And usually all of us buy something, including the hedgehogs that I got left with today because Daniel had to run out. But I'm pretty sure that Daniel's going to end up with a substantial bill at the Nest because of our visit last night to the Nest.
My wife follows me from place to place. See, John and Jackie, they're able to, you know, be, you know, secretive for their family gifts, but my gifts are pre-planned as my wife just follows behind me and buys everything. So
I'm lucky my husband is not computer savvy, so he doesn't even watch the videos, so I can buy him stuff all day and he'll never know. Although he just came in my office today and found one of the gifts I had purchased him.
Yeah, yeah, thanks, Matt. I want to reiterate a couple points that about this program. I mean, I actually was out in town both Saturday and Sunday shopping, once with my daughter, once with my wife, and agreed that the foot traffic's heavy. People are excited. I mean, people are wearing the buttons. You know, I'm talking to them about the videos you guys are doing. I think a couple of his businesses, you know, uptown, I told him to try to reach out. But I think there's going to be a moment when what you guys are doing right now is super unique, and honestly, I think is really holds together with a kind of messaging that I think is super attractive when you start to look at potential, you know, efforts to attract business, and you know, what kind of a town is it, and you've got all the fodder for you know, as a resident. To really make a case. It's just phenomenal. It's, you know, I feel like it's the lead. Auburn is the example by which the county can really hang its hat on when it comes to their Shop Placer program. And, you know, being ready to help businesses like we are with a collaborative effort. There's just so much here, you know, and Auburn is already in such a good position to keep moving forward, that I just really truly believe that this effort is something to be looked at in the aftermath, and really try to tell its tale, come up with a narrative on it, because I've never seen anything like it, honestly, and it's super unique and super Auburn. And so again, Jackie, I mean, all you, Daniel, I watched the videos. It's fantastic. So thank you guys for that. I mean, just really showing great leadership, honestly, and that's, these times require, you know, these hard times require leaders. So you guys are really doing it. Thank you.
I will say there are some stuff that we're working for next steps. One is trying to put them all in one location. You know, not everybody has Facebook. I won't mention any names, April. But, you know, April has been very good at kind of pushing us that we really need to start kind of cataloging them, making it searchable. I will say on average, within a couple days, we are getting about 1,000 people who are watching the videos. And then our reaches is about double that. In just the past 2 weeks, 15,000 people have watched the now, I guess today we're at 16 videos, but to me, that's pretty darn good. I think talking to John and Jackie, again, this is John's brainchild, that, you know, we never thought that we would get more than just our family members, you know, watching. And we do have regulars. She's not here today, but Alice Dowd in Calvillo buys something online at every store. But I think we are working to try to take it to the next step, and again, try to make it searchable, easy for people to find it. Because, you know, our goal is to, even for me, I'm learning things every day of, oh, you carry that product. I don't need to get it down the hill or some other location.
Right. Well, and I understand we've got technical assistance on the horizon, so maybe that cataloging and whatnot will be easier to do. So
yeah, Daniel just has fun finding out where there's hedgehogs in town.
We all love a good hedgehog.
You gotta follow the videos to understand, but almost every store we go to, there's a hedgehog.
Or gnomes.
Gnomes.
Nice.
Love the-
Well, again, kudos to John and Daniel and Jackie and Amy and all of the other folks who are doing this, because it is very impressive. And I agree with Rob. I think at the end of the day, this might be a fantastic tool for us to show how we helped our business districts get through this incredible time that we're dealing with right now. So nice job to all of you guys. Thank you very much. I do want to mention real quickly on the, at this point, the city has been talking about some programs, some requests for funding that have come through. We had on Monday an item that was requested through our Economic Development Committee for $3,000. There was quite a bit of discussion from Daniel and Alice to kick that up. I just want everybody to know that the city has committed, I think, $25,000 now. We want to do whatever we can for our business districts to help them, whether it's through the social media marketing and online, shopping opportunities or other opportunities. We want to help. The reason that we didn't fully fund or do the full 20,000 that I think was requested was just from a lack of not understanding the full scope of what was being asked for. So we'll work harder to make sure that we're prepared when we have these meetings, that we understand exactly what's being requested, so we can potentially make the decisions to increase the funding request to accommodate the greater good of our businesses. But it was something we talked about quite a bit on Monday night at our council meeting, and it's certainly something that's very important to all of us. So I guess Jackie and April and the other business districts who aren't on the call tonight or this afternoon, let's continue the dialogue. Let's figure out what you guys need. Even if it's short-term funding for whatever it might be, now's the time that our businesses need us more than ever. The vaccine is coming. It's going to take a while to get here. So we're going to be dealing with this well into the first quarter of 2021, maybe even to the second quarter of 2021 before we're more or less open. And I don't know exactly what that means. I'm not sure anybody really knows what that means at this point, but I just wanted to make the point to the chamber who made the request to the EDC that we're here to help. And we do have some discretionary funds that we can apply to programs. We just need a better understanding of what the programs exactly are. So Jackie, let us know how we can help you, and we're here to help.
Yeah, and I think the idea was we were going to come to this meeting with a bigger plan and more of an in-depth plan. But then we got the county grants in the middle between Monday and today. So I think we're going to lean towards the county more and save the city for when we need them most, because the county money will run out and we're probably going to still be in a certain situation at some point. So my idea is that other than heaters, we're going to work with the county right now to just use their money and get the most out of that as we can and save the city as a backup.
Well, and yes, and it's the federal funds from the CARES Act
Right.
that we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to business.
And Matt, if I could just, and Alice isn't on here, but I think that a lot of our concern has shifted a bit, especially since the county released how much money we would be eligible for. And I think that from my perspective, and I know Alice's as well, is seeing the comprehensive plan that everybody puts together so that we kind of understand what is the need that's out there, and making sure that if there's more need that we're addressing it. And again, I would argue that 185 is well beyond anything I ever imagined when I have been talking with county staff and all the different buckets that they built really are our buckets that we asked for. So I think that I would hope that the districts and the chamber will now be able to put together a plan, and then if there are any holes, we can have that discussion. But I don't have the same concern, and I would think that Alice would as well, that we did on Monday, now knowing that there's a lot more money potential out there that may be able to quickly address all of the different elements that the business districts and the chamber put together. So just wanted to throw that out there, that I think we're in a much better position than we were Monday.
Yeah, no, yes, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. I guess just circling back, I think that depending on the timing from the county's dollars to what we as a city can do in a short time frame, as far as funding sources goes, let's not close the door on any of that. And I know we're not going to, but if the county program takes 2 weeks into January to fund, we're going to have a meeting the second Monday in January. We can fund through the city, get the money back from the county, and try to get it out to our businesses as fast as possible. So I think to close this up, I think everything's on the table. We're trying to figure out how we get support out to our businesses as fast as we can. And it's through the county CARES program that they got funded through the federal government. Through us, we'll figure it out. April, do you want to jump in for your Downtown Business Association update?
Yes, I just want to emphasize that I have nothing going on for Christmas, so I'm ready to write and do math and everything else and get that going anytime. It's not exactly DBA, it's Arts Commission, but DBA did kind of like jump in at the last minute. The frame at the art park, the scaffolding on, it's visible. Yay! It's not powered up yet. It's supposed to be power to the frame on Monday, and Arts Commission members hope to get out there and string the rest of the snowflake lights. So it will be lit on, and it is winter solstice on Monday. So we're pretty excited.
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Sandy.
I just have a question on that, April. I know I was able to get people to help fund part of it, and I know we all did. Is there an opportunity, I don't know how much work it is, when it's up to put the umbrellas up? I know that's more for the spring and summer, but is there an opportunity to showcase it? Or is that too much work?
It's way too much work. No, and we've had different people have emailed the DBA about the sponsorship, and it's been explained that it just took longer than we thought, and they'll go up probably in May. And nobody seems to have a problem with that. And hopefully by then we'll be in a place where we can possibly gather in that space and honor everybody, and a sign will be up, and we'll actually have a bit of a celebration when they're up and ready to go and doing their job. So I think it'll be okay.
Okay, I'll tell my people May.
Okay. Yep.
Great. And I don't see anybody from the Old Town Business Association or 49. So we'll go ahead and move on to next meetings. And I think we'll kind of do what we've done on the various COVID related meetings. Unless somebody has an objection, we'll look to the first Friday in January for this follow-up meeting due to the holiday break. Certainly, if anything comes up that's of urgent nature, we'll reconvene or send out notices and see if we can reconvene. But the Fridays certainly fall on tough dates. This doesn't have to necessarily happen on a Friday, but we can adjust as necessary if the need arises. So does anybody have any comment on that or concern about that?
Matt, I would just add that it does look like Friday the 1st is actually New Year's Day. So my guess is city staff will be off for the holiday, but maybe, as you just said at the beginning, though, just play it by ear as needed and let the chamber and the business associations work on and John putting together their plan, but just play it by ear. I for one, don't think we need to meet on the 1st.
Yeah, I think Yes, I agree. And we all though do know that things are very dynamic in this environment. So if something dramatic happens or situations change, we can adjust the dates and figure out a time to reconvene this committee. And we can do it pretty quickly with the help of our city clerk, Amy Lind. So unless does anybody have any other comments?
Just one thing real quick. I just forwarded, Sherry Conway just sent me the draft guidelines. So to everybody that's on this Zoom, I just forwarded it to you. So it kind of looks like everything that we just said. They've sent out the draft. They've updated a little bit. The meeting at 11 o'clock on Monday looks like it's going to hash through and everything. So
these are the second draft or the third draft?
Yes.
Rob was right.
Nice.
Rob
I'm
was
sorry.
right. These aren't the final. They're the second draft.
I think Daniel said that earlier, the second draft.
Well, I
April,
think
did you
what,
have some?
honestly, what I think happened was when they started to hash through Wednesdays, they saw a lot of just logistical issues, with it and in terms of trying to actually put a grant application process in place that they could defend. Because a lot of these regions just don't even have a natural, synergy like Auburn does, or in Tahoe for that matter.
April?
Is that Monday meeting at 11 open to the public? Is it on Zoom? Or is that an internal staff meeting?
I don't know. I don't organize the meeting. I'll send you the invite
Okay, thanks.
if you want to try and crash the meeting or whatever. That's fine. Okay. Well, I know that Jackie's on it, so.
I think I'm on that as well.
Yeah. So I'll send you the invite,
Thank
April.
Hey, John, not to crash a meeting, but would you mind sending me the invite as well? Because I don't have it.
If you want to attend the meeting for me, that's great. Not that I don't have enough meetings. You can be my,
Your proxy.
you'll be my proxy. Go for it.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for coming. Continue to do everything you all have been doing and shopping local and supporting our local businesses. Dine local as well. Curbside pickup is fantastic. Josephine, by the way, has a fantastic menu. Old Town Pizza, best pizza ever, and you can get those curbside. So continue to support our local restaurants along with our retail establishments, as I know you all are doing. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And boy, we'll roll up our sleeves and get ready to work, not only through the holiday, but right when we get back in January. So thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Matt. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.